Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to cover our Metasploit introduction part. This part actually we are covering on Tryhackme, and this is actually free rooms. Anyone can deploy virtual machine in this room without being subscribed. It means you don't have to pay anything for this. So I will after this I will cover advanced one also, where we will check a real how real exploit work. And but before that I want to create a video on basics. So this one is basic room, and you can see this is here, easy one. Okay, an introduction to the main component of the Metasploit framework. Okay, so let's start. First is introduction to Metasploit. Task 1. Metasploit is the most widely used exploitation framework. Metasploit is a powerful tool that can support all phases of penetration testing engagement, from information gathering to post exploitation. Metasploit has two main versions: Metasploit Pro, the commercial version that facilitates the automation and management of tasks. This version has a graphical user interface. Metasploit Framework, the open source version that was from the command line. This room will be focused on the version installed on the attack and most commonly used penetration testing Linux distribution. The Metasploit framework is a set of tools that allow information gathering, scanning, exploitation, exploit development, post exploitation, and more. While the primary usage of the Metasploit framework focuses on the penetration testing domain, it is also useful for vulnerabilities research and exploit development. The main component of the Metasploit framework can be summarized as follows. So, MSF console, the main command line interface module, supporting modules such as exploit scanner, payload, etc. Tools, standalone tools that help vulnerability research, vulnerability assessment, or penetration testing. Some of these tools are MSF Venom, pattern crate, and pattern offset. We will cover MSF Venom within this model, but pattern crate and pattern offset are tools useful in exploit development, which is beyond the scope of the module. This room will cover the main component of Metasploit while providing you with a solid foundation on how find relevant exploit, set parameters, and exploit vulnerabilities service on the target system. Once you have completed this room, you will be able to navigate and use the Metasploit a command line comfortably. Okay, press start machine button below. I'm starting machine, but I forgot to reset the room. Okay, I'm starting machine again. First I have to reset the room because yes. So let's start the machine, and it's taking time, so we are going, let's cover part 2. Part 2 means task 2. Okay, the main component of Metasploit. While using a Metasploit framework, you will primarily interact with the Metasploit console. You can launch it from the attack box terminal using MSF console command. The console will be your main interface to interact with the different module of the Metasploit framework. Modules are small component within the Metasploit framework that are built to perform a specific task, such as exploiting a vulnerabilities or scanning a target or performing a brute force attack. Before diving into Metasploit, it would be helpful to clarify a few uh, recurring concept: vulnerabilities, exploit, and payload. Exploit, a piece of code that use vulnerabilities present on the target system. Okay, what is vulnerability? Vulnerability are design, coding, or logic flow affecting the target system. The exploitation of a vulnerability can result in disclosing confidential information or allowing the attacker to execute code on the target system. Payload and exploit will take advantage of a vulnerability. However, if we want the exploit to have the result we want, gaining access to the target system, read confidential information, etc. We need to use a payload. Payload are code that will run on the target system. Modules and categories under each of are listed below. These are given of reference purpose, but you can interact with them through a Metasploit console, MSF console auxiliary. Any supporting module such as scanner, crawling, and fuzzers can be found here. So I think our machine has been started. I have not clicked on first one. Actually we completed check. In task 2 we have to check, so it's taking machine taking a little bit time, so we will zoom it. Auxiliary, any supporting module such as scanner, crawler, and fuzzer found here, so we have to use this command for auxiliary. And encoder will allow you to encode the exploit and payload in the hope that signature based antivirus solution may miss them. Signature based antivirus and security solution have a database of known threats. They detect threat by comparing suspicious files to this database and raise an alert if there is a match. Thus, encoder can have a limited success rate as antivirus solution can perform additional checks. So we can use this command for encoders. Evasion. While encoder can, while encoder will encode the payload, they should not be considered a direct attempt to evade antivirus software. On the other hand, evasion module will try that with more or less success. We can use op Metasploit framework, embedded framework. Is okay. Exploit neatly organized by targeted system. Op Metasploit framework exploit. Okay, fine. NOPs mean no operation, do nothing literally. They are represented in the Intel x86 CPU family with x into 90, following which the CPU will do nothing for one cycle. They are often used as a buffer to achieve consistent payload size. Okay. Payloads are codes that will run on the target system. We already know this. Exploit will leverage a vulnerability on the target system, but to achieve the desired result we will need a payload. Example could be getting a shell, loading a malware, or backdoor to the target system, running a command, or launching calc.exe as a proof of concept to add to the penetration test report. Starting the calculator on the target system remotely by launching the calc.exe application is a begin beginning way to show that we can run commands on the target system. Running commands on the target system is already an important step, but having an interactive connection that allows you to type command that will be executed on the target system is better. Such an interactive command line is called a shell. Metasploit offer the ability to send a different payload that can open shell on the target system. Okay, opt embedded framework payloads. Okay, tree payload. Okay, you will see four different directories under payloads: adapters, singles, stagers, and stages. So what is adapter? An adapter wraps single payload to convert them into different format. For example, in normal, single payload can be wrapped inside a PowerShell adapter, which will make a single PowerShell command that will execute the payload. Singles self-contained payload add user launch notepad.exe that do not need download an additional component to run. What is Taggers? Responsible for setting up a connection channel between Metasploit and target system. Useful when working with the stage payload. Stage payload with first upload stagger on the target system, then download the rest of payload stage. The this provide some advantage as the initial size of the payload will be relatively small compared to the full payload sent at once. Stage downloaded by the stager, that this will allow you to use larger size payload. Metasploit has a subtle way to help you identify single, also called inline payload and stage payload. So generic shell reverse TCP window X, okay, generic shell reserve TCP window X64 shell reserve, sorry, reverse TCP. Both are reverse window shell. The former is inline or single payload, as indicated by comma, okay, inverted comma, between shell and reverse, while the latter is a stage payload as indicated by the slash forward slash, okay, between shell and reverse. So okay, post module will be useful on the final stage of the penetration testing process listed above. Post exploitation, Metasploit framework, embedded framework, post, okay. If you wish to familiarize yourself further with these modules, you can find them under the modules folder of your Metasploit installation. For the attack box, this under of Metasploit framework, embedded framework, and models. Is what is the name of code taking advantage of a flaw on the target system. Exploit. What is the name of code that run on the target system to achieve the attacker goal? We already know. We read above. Okay. What are self-contained payload called? Self-contained payload called SINGLE, singles. Okay. In Windows XP, ping back reverse among single or stack payloads. Single. Okay. So MSF console. Let's move on. Task 3. As previously mentioned, the console will be your main interface to the Metasploit framework. You can launch it using the MSF console command on your attack box terminal or any system the Metasploit framework is installed on. So we have to let's side by side do the example also. Okay. So we will type MSF console. Maybe they can ask some question about this. So it's opening. You can see here it's taking some time. Let's move here. Once launched, you will see the command line change to MSF6. So root will become MSF6. Okay. MSF5, depending on installed version. Metasploit. The Metasploit console, MSF console, can be used just like a regular command line shell. As you can see below, the first command is ls, which lists the content folder from which Metasploit was launched using MSF console command. It is followed by a ping sent to Google DNS address 8.8.8, okay, as we operate from the attack box, which is Linux. We had add the -c1 option, so only single ping was set. Otherwise, the ping process would continue until it stop using Control C. Okay. So typing ls command, we can see our list. Okay. It will support most Linux command including clear. So clear, okay, to clear terminal screen, but will not allow you to. Some feature of a regular command line does not support output redirection as we below. Suppose if we are typing help txt, something like that. Let's try help.txt. I think no such command. Okay. While on subject that the help command can be used on its own or for a specific command. Below is the help menu for set command we will cover soon. Okay, cover soon. Not I will not do this because we have to set something like set option and value help set. You can use history command to see command you have early typed. Suppose if I'm typing history here, I can see my history command also, history. History actually I use this, so it's asking. Okay, clear. An important feature of MSF console is the support of tab completion. This will come in handy later when using Metasploit command or dealing with modules. For example, if you start typing HE and press the tab key, you will see it auto completes to help. MSF console is managed by context. This means that unless set a global variable or parameter, setting will be lost if you change the module you have decided to use. In the example below, we have used the MS17-010 eternal blue exploit. This is exploit name, and we have set parameters such rhost. If we if we were to switch to another module, example port scanner, we would need to set the rhost value again, as all change we have made reminded in the context of the MS17010 eternal blue exploit. Okay, let us look at the example below to have a better understanding of this feature. We will use the MS17010 eternal blue exploit for illustration purpose. Once you type the use exploit window SMB MSF eternal blue command, you will see the command line prompt change from MSF6 to MSF. Okay, comma will be added. Okay, exploit window SMB MS70010 eternal blue. The eternal blue is an exploit allegedly developed by the US National Security Agency NSA for the vulnerability affecting the SMB V1 server on the numerous Windows system. The SMB server message block is widely used in the Windows network for file sharing and even for sending file to printer. Eternal Blue was leaked by the cyber criminal group Shadow Broker in April 2017 in May 2017. This vulnerability was exploited worldwide in the WannaCry ransomware attack. Okay, suppose if we want used this exploit, so we have to click. Okay, you can see MSF6 exploit name is showing. Okay, using use command, you can see the model can be used, can also select use command following number the beginning of the search result line. While the prompt has changed, you will notice we can still run the command previously mentioned. This means we did not enter a folder as you would typically expect in the operating system command line. Okay, so ls-json1. Okay, the prompt tell us we now have context set which we will work. You can see this by typing a show option command. So if we will click, if we will give the command show options, so we can see we have all the options. Suppose we have set r port 445, r host not set yet, so we have to set uh, required yes. If required yes, we have to set. Okay, so it's looking same. This will print option related to the exploit we have chosen earlier. The show options command will have different output depending on the context it is used in. The example above show that this exploit will require we set variable like rhost and rport. On the other hand, A post exploitation uh, module may only need us to set a session ID. See the screenshot. A session ID is an existing connection to the target system that the post exploitation module will use. Okay, so here we can see, okay, fine. The show command can be used in the context followed by a module type auxiliary payload exploit to list available module. The example below list payload that can be used with the MS17010 eternal blue exploit. Show payloads. Okay, we can see these payloads also. So will it work here? Can I try? Show payloads. Yes, it's showing some payloads. Okay. If used from MSF console prompt, the show command will list all modules. The use of show option commands we have seen so far identical for all modules in the Metasploit. You can leave the context uh, using the back command. BACK. Okay. Back. Okay. Further information of any module can be obtained by typing the info command within its context. Okay. Unknown command is string in my system. Okay. So alternatively, we can use the info command followed by the module's path from the MSF console prompt. Info exploit window SMB MS70010 eternal blue. Info is not help menu. It will display detailed information on the module such as its author, relevant source, etc. Search. One of the most useful command is MSF console search. This command will search Metasploit Framework database for module relevant to the given search parameter. You can conduct search using CVE number exploit name eternal blue eternal blue heartbleed etc or target system. Search MS17. Can I search this? Okay. The output of search command provides an overview of each returned module. You may notice the name column already given more information than just a module name. You can see the type of module auxiliary exploit and the categories of module scanner admin window Unix etc. You can use any module written in the search result with the command use followed by the number at the beginning of the result line. Example, use 0 instead of use auxiliary admin SMB. Okay. Another essential piece of information written in the rank column exploit are related based on their reliability. The table below provide their respective description. So these are the ranking: excellent ranking, great ranking, good ranking, normal, average, lower, or manual ranking. The exploit will never crash the service. This is the case for SQL injection, command execution, RFI, LFI. No typical memory corruption exploit should be given this ranking unless they are extraordinary circumstances. WMF scam. This exploit has default target and either auto detected the appropriate target or the uses an application specific return address after a version check. The exploit has a default target and it is the common case for the type of software. English Windows 7 for the desktop app, 2012 for server. The exploit is otherwise reliable but depend on a specific version and can't or doesn't reliably auto detect. Okay, the exploit is generally unre unreliable or difficult to exploit. The exploit is nearly impossible to exploit or under 50% success rate for common platform. The exploit is unstable or difficult to exploit and is basically a DOS This ranking is also used when the module has no use unless specific configured by the user. Source. You can directly search function using keyboard such a type and play platform. For example, if we wanted our search result on the to only include auxiliaries module, we could set the type of auxiliary, the screenshot below, show output, and search type auxiliary telnet command. Auxiliary telnet, okay. Please remember that exploit takes advantage of a vulnerabilities on the target system and may always show unexpected behavior. A low ranking exploit may work perfectly and an excellent ranked exploit may not, or worse, crash the target system. Okay, so how would you search for module related Apache? So Apache related module, if you want to search, so we have to type command search Apache. Our next question is, who provide auxiliaries scanner SSH login? So use info command we can use. Actually we use info in starting, so after that I already know. So let's move on task 4. In task 4 it's very long task 4. Okay, fine. After that I think only we have tasks 4 and 5. Okay, let's move on task 4. Okay, task 4. You can launch the target machine attached to the this room replicate example show below any Metasploit version 5 or 6. Sorry, 5 or 6 will have menus and screens similar to those shown here. You can use the attack box or any operating system installed on your local computer. Once you have entered the context of module using the use command followed by the module name as seen earlier, you will need to set parameter. The most common parameter you will use are listed below. Remember, based on the module you use, additional or different parameter may need to be set. It is good practice to use show option command to list the required parameter. All parameters are set using the same command syntax: set, parameter name and value. Before we proceed, remember always to check the MSF console prompt to ensure you are in the right context when dealing with Metasploit. You may see 5 different prompts. The regular command prompt, you cannot use Metasploit command here. Okay, the MSF console prompt MSF6 or MSF5 depending on your install version is MSF console prompt. As you can see, no context is uh, set here, so context specific command to set parameters and run modules cannot be used here. MSF6, a context prompt. Once you have decided to use module and use to set command to close it, the MSF console will show the context. You can use context specific command e.g. set or host here. Okay, the beta pattern prompt. Bettermeter is an important payload we will see in details later this module. This means Bettermeter agent was loaded to the target system and conducted back to you. You can use Bettermeter specific command here. Bettermeter, okay. A shell on the target system. Once the exploit is completed, you may have access command shell on the target system. This is regular command line and all command type here run on the target system. As mentioned earlier, the show option command will list all the available parameter. Eternal blue show option we already have seen. Okay, as you can see the screenshot above, some of these parameter required value for the exploit to work. Some required parameter values will be pre-populated. Pop Popularity. Make sure you can check if these should remain the same for your target. For example, a web exploit could have an R port, remote port, the port on the target system. Metasploit will try to connect to and run the exploit value present to 80, but your target web application could be using port 8080. In this example, we will set the R host parameter to the IP address of the target system using set command. So we can use this command set R host and IP address. Okay, let me do this here. Yeah, so we can set this R host. Once we have set parameter, you can use show option command. Check the value was set correctly. Parameter rhost. Rhost means remote host. The IP address of the target system called rhost. Okay, a single IP address or a network range can be set. This will support the CIDR classless inter-domain routing. Notation, okay, 24 by 16 UTC or network range, IP to IP. You can also use a file where target are listed, one target per line, using file path target file txt, as you can see below. R port is remote port, the port the target system the vulnerable application is running on. Payload, the payload you will use with the exploit. L host, local host, the attacking machine, your attack box or Kali Linux. L port, local, the port we will use for reverse shell or connect back. This is a port on the your attacking machine, and you can set it to any port not used by any other application. Session is each connection established to the target system using Metasploit will have a session ID. You will use this with post exploitation module that will connect to the target system using an existing connection. You can override any set parameter using set command, again will a different value. You can also clear a parameter value using the unset command, or clear all set parameter with the unset all command. So here we can see table unset all flushing database data store. Okay, we will use set or unset, so we can set or unset things. You can use the setg command, set a value that will be used for all module, kind of global. The setg command use likely set command. The difference, if you are using set command to set a value using module and you switch another module, you will need to set value again. The setg command allow you set value, so it can be used default across different module. You can clear any value set with setg using unsetg. Okay, the example below uses following. We use MSF's MS17010 eternal blue exploit. We set our host variable using setg command. Okay, we used the back command leave exploit context. We use auxiliaries. This model scanner discover MS17010 vulnerabilities. The option command show the rhost parameter is already populated with the IP address of the target system. Use exploit Windows SMB MS170 eternal blue. Okay, the setg command set a global value that will be used until you exit Metasploit or clear using unsetg command. Using module, once all module parameter are set, you can launch module using the exploit command. Metasploit also supports the run command, which is an alias created for exploit command. As the word exploit did not make sense when using module that were not exploit, port scanner, vulnerability scanner, the exploit command can be used without any parameter or using dash z parameter. The exploit dash command will be run the exploit on the background the session as soon as it's opened. Okay, exploit zs, so we can use it, uh, use this command in background also. Okay, this will return you the context prompt from which you have run the exploit. Some modules support the check option. This will check if the target system is vulnerable without exploiting. Session. Once a vulnerability has been successfully exploited, a session will be created. This is the communication channel established between the target system and Metasploit. You can use the background command to background the session prompt and go back to the MSF console prompt. Okay, alternatively, control plus Z can be used background session. The session command will be the session command can be used from the MSF console prompt to any context to see the existing session. Okay, to interact with any session, you can use session I command followed the desired session number. How would so okay, answer the question, how would you set the L port value 666? So it's very easy. We have to set L port 6666. How would you set the global value for our host and this IP 10.19.23? So we will set set G, okay, our host 10.10.1923. What command would you use to clear a set payload? If any payload already set, what command will you use? Clear, we have to type unset and payload. Yes, okay. What command do you use to proceed with the exploitation phase? Exploit, simple, exploit. Okay, we almost completed because only task summary is left. So no answer need. Okay, as we have seen so far, Metasploit is a powerful tool that facilitates the exploitation process. The exploitation process comprises three main steps: finding the exploit, customizing the exploit, and the exploiting the vulnerable service. Metasploits provide many modules that you can use for each step of the exploitation process. Through this room, we have seen the basic component of Metasploit and their respective use. It would be best if you can also had use the MS17010 Eternal Blue exploit to gain access to the target virtual machine. In the following room, we will cover Metasploit and its component in the more detail. Once completed, this module should give you good understanding about capability of Metasploit. Okay, so before clicking on this, let me terminate my machine first. Okay, so as we already completed this, and I will make more video on Metasploit also, that will be not like basic one. So stay tuned and subscribe my channel